Uh, Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our day one of our building websites with Express.js Bootcamp. This is day one. I'm Kunal, and with us here today is our moderators, Tulika and Abhishek. Uh, Now, moving forward, in this boot camp, obviously this is day one. We will, as the name suggests, we will be going through building websites, specifically backend and backend with Express.js. So to get started today, one very basic concept which I had in mind for going through before we actually get into programming stuff. So before that happens, I just want to go through the basic idea of what happens inside of a website, what happens with a server, which brings us to the topic of a simple web server. So what is a web server? So in this series, we will be basically going through Express.js, and at the same time, we will be going through databases and the reasons for which and the selection of a particular database I will discuss in just a moment. So, firstly, talking about a simple web server, let's go to our very first concept, which is a server. Now, for now, let's just consider a server to be this black box here, gray box, and say that this is any computer. A server, in theory, can be any computer possible. It can be your own laptop, your computer, your any computing device can act as a server, which means uh, it should have sufficient computing power. We will go into all of that later, but just understand that any computing device or any computer can act as a server. um, Now let's go a bit forward and say this is you, which is the client. Now, in this web server terminology or this web development terminology, we will always have one client and one server, and we say that the client is you. So this is a typical setup of any website. For example, say like a Amazon or a YouTube and those sort of things. YouTube has their own server. You are a client, and then we proceed with some particular steps that we are going to go through. So uh, going to the next step, what happens is uh, a server has a lot of information with it, and a client wants to extract that information from the server. uh, Now consider this as you going to a kirana shop and you buying something, right? You buy something and you have this change problem, at least if you are dealing in cash. So you buy something worth 97 rupees, and you give 100 rupees to the kirana shop owner. Now what that shop owner does is, in his or her mind, they take that 97, they take that 100 and say, okay, I have to give back 100 minus 97, which is 3 rupees. I have to give back to the consumer, that is you. So in this way, you are the client who requests something from the server, which is the kirana shop owner, here in this very specific case, for change, for change in place of your 100 rupees. Now he gives back 3 rupees to you. So in web development terminology, the very first action of me asking the kirana shop owner to give me 3 rupees back in place of my 100 rupees is something called a request, which is asking the server to do something. Here, if the kirana shop owner is a server, I am asking the kirana shop owner to do something, and appropriate response is given, which brings us to our this second cycle of response. The second step of our response. In our example, my request was please give me 3 rupees change for my 97 rupees bill. I have given you 100 rupees. The server or the kirana shop owner in this case processes this information and calculates this 100 minus 97 and says, okay, 3 rupees. Here you go. You have your 3 rupees. So that his action of giving me 3 rupees back is something which can be called a response, which is called a response as a matter of fact. So I had some request as a client to the server, and the server gave us some response, right? And let's move on to a different example in this same theme. So what we have is on an actual website, you are a client and there is a server, right? We are taking an example of a shopping website. Say something like a Big Basket. Now I go on their website and on Big Basket, for example, and I want to order some chocolates. So what I do is I go to the app and go to their categories and whatever the app or the website has, and I select the category and in categories I select chocolates. I am asking the website to go and give me or return to me some chocolates. Now what happens is similar to our case in the Kirana example. We are asking Big Basket to return us some products. Now, in this very specific, simpler version of an example, I request the server with some information denoted by this very specific sort of notation, which is called an object notation, which we'll get familiar with as we go on in the further weeks. So what this does is I'm asking for this very specific category of a chocolate of chocolates, which is given inside of this object notation, or this particular information that I'm passing to the server. In return, the server goes and searches for this information inside of its own database or wherever. So this is similar to me going and asking a kirana owner that okay, I'm asking for some chocolates. The kirana owner goes and checks his or her stock and then returns with saying, okay, I have one dairy milk and I have one dairy milk and the price is 100 rupees. This is what the information about the chocolate is given back to you by the kirana owner. In this case, the shopping website does something very, very, very similar. You go and ask for some chocolates as a category of chocolates, and the server returns to you something, and the server returns to you something which is called a response, and the response has some more information. For example, the name and the price of the chocolate. So in this case, I'll just repeat once more. I go and ask for a category of chocolates to the server. The server goes and searches for in itself, saying, okay, where do I have, like, what do I have in this category of chocolates, and then it returns us back this thing called a dairy milk, with the price of 100 rupees. That's all. So moving on to the next, this is a more this is a more detailed version of what I have said till now. So this is a zoomed in version of the same diagram, saying we have the client on the left as denoted before, and the server on the right, the gray box. the client in purple is requesting something, and that something is specified by saying category of chocolates. So the server knows what it has to look for. When when the client sends the request, the server says, okay, I have received an inquiry for chocolates, what should I do? Like a basic question any person will have whenever I ask him them something. The server says, let me go and check what do I have in stock currently. uh, I have a dairy milk chocolate with a price of INR 100 rupees. That is what I have. So it says, okay, looks good to me. Like this is what the person who requested this chocolate asked for. So I will. This is what I will return back to the customer. So the server says, I think this is fine, let me give this, and then it says, here you go. This is what I have. This is I calculated all of this in my head when I received the response. Sorry, I received the request from you, and now I am going to give this response of a dairy milk with a price of 100 rupees back to you. This is what the server will do for us. Now just going forward, in web development, this is a very important concept, which is called CRUD, which stands for create, read, update, and delete. This is the basic idea of many applications. That is it. You are able to create some data, you are able to read some data, you are able to update some data, and you are able to delete some data. For example, consider to just brief you on what is CRUD exactly. Consider a simple example of, say, a YouTube playlist or something. Yes, a YouTube playlist, and inside of that YouTube playlist, you have the option to add videos, which is create an item inside of the playlist. You like some video, you add it to the playlist, right? So you use the create functionality, and you create and you create this a video inside of that playlist. Then you have the ability to read that playlist. That is, you have the ability to read all of the information that is present inside of that playlist. And then obviously you can update that playlist. You have these options of changing the order of the playlist, and you can also you know yes, you have the idea of updating the playlist with the order, and the fourth option is deleting videos from the playlist, which is also again very natural to do. So this is the basic idea of a this is the basic idea of a CRUD concept inside of web development, which is very, very, very vital. And this is what we will be actually building in this our whole 6 days to come. So this is what we will be doing. So moving forward now, for any such CRUD application, database becomes very necessary. As I said previously, database is very important when we are considering something like building a CRUD application, because in reality, like even the kirana owner, right, nowadays, like you go somewhere and you see that they have this some billing information, billing systems, and they scan the barcodes, and they have all this information ready. So again, this is all done by a database, right? So a database is where we specifically, if I go back a little, this point of some, where I have highlighted some points, I've made them bold. So this activity of going and checking is actually done inside of a database. So a database here becomes very, very important. Now, coming back, for working with databases, understanding our data is even important, which means, for example, if I have to create this some particular application, um, then if I have to create some particular application, then I have to understand how my data is going to be stored, and what sort of structure the data is going to be in, right? Because say, if I'm storing this grocery information, so previously, again, I just go back a little, in the response you would see that we returned this item, we call this returning the item, and this was a dairy milk, but it had two properties associated with it which defined the item, which was the name of the item and the price of the item. So this sort of makes up the structure of the database. This becomes the core of the information that is going to be stored in the database. um, don't worry if this seems a bit too much now. I'll send some links as well in the email, and we will and you'll have some time to go over this information a little while we actually go and start coding information that way. So the basic idea is, you have to, when you are creating a database, you're working with a database, the idea of structuring the database becomes very, very important. How you are going to store the data is going to become the most vital part of your web application development. That's the main thing which you need to take away right now. So for this particular series, we'll be building a product listing website. Now, product listing website is something like an India Mart, where you go and see these products posted by some supplier, some person, or something like an OLX, where you as you can go and post some products on their website, and whatever, like these at the core, websites like OLX and India Mart are very similar in their architecture, of like, at least technologically. So they are very similar. They both allow users to post their products on their platforms. Obviously they have their own goals, while this doesn't concern us right now. So it allows the user the ability to post products on their platform, update information about those products on the platform, read those products basically, and everybody and anybody comes to the website and reads that information. And one last thing is deleting that information, which becomes a part of our product listing website. We will be now creating something called a MongoDB database for use with our application in Express.js in these 7 days or 6 days to come. Now, databases are also of a very, very, very varied category, and one person doesn't use all the databases which are out there in his or her lifetime. Now it becomes a lot more categories which you may or may not use always. There might be only some databases which stick and or rather become popularized, and MongoDB is a perfect example of that. Like, it is one of the most widely used databases in technology stacks like Mern stack, or Maven stack, Mean stack, like those sort of things, with the Vue, Angular, React, those sort of things. So the M in each of these stands for MongoDB, and it is indeed a very, very popular framework right now, and it has been for the past couple of years and past few years. So we will be building on top of that. Now you will ask, why MongoDB? Like, why does it become like, why is it popular? Or even if not that question, why now very specifically are we trying to use this MongoDB database? What is that? So you might already be familiar with SQL, and MongoDB is classified as something which is called a NoSQL. So it is sort of like two polar opposites of database structuring, like the architecture of databases. So SQL is something close to what you store as information inside of Excel sheets. If I give a very basic example, if you're already not aware of SQL, so it stores information as tables, which is it's makes some rows, these rows, and it makes some columns, then divides all of that information inside of these cells, or these places where data can be stored for each row, for each column, for each row. And then the structure in itself then becomes a table like structure, which can be seen on the left side of the table that is presented, the slide that is presented. On the right hand side, we have the MongoDB structure. uh, it is a document store. Even in NoSQL, again, we will not be able to go into a lot of database theory and every sort of classification of database. We are short on time for that. So MongoDB is a NoSQL database, which is a document store, which is again comes inside of one type of a NoSQL database. So how are these databases structured? Now, mind you, there are very many other platforms, sorry, or databases which store information very similarly to MongoDB. So you might switch to other databases and they might feel very similar. So in MongoDB, we have this database, and inside of this database, we in this diagram, for example, we have item 1 and item 2, and associated with this item, with these items, is something which is called which I'll call a property for now, and this property is defined by a key and a value. You can see this item 1 has two properties, while item 2 has only one property. Now, this is something where the flexibility of MongoDB or a NoSQL database comes in. In SQL, as you would see, you cannot actually, for example, for row number 2, you cannot cut out this column number 1 and throw it away. You can never do that in SQL. It will always remain inside of the table, and you have no option to change that. There has to be some information stored for that very particular column. While NoSQL gives you this flexibility, saying if you don't need this particular information for this particular item, this property, you don't need it, then might as well not declare it itself, and it doesn't hamper the structure. It is legal to use inside of, and when I say legal, it is it doesn't give you errors basically. So the structure itself, it is a valid structure of a MongoDB database. And as you might be seeing a similar pattern to what we had previously, this key value structure for this particular item 1 and item 2. If you remember from what we discussed previously, when the shopkeeper returned us something, he gave us this dairy milk item with two properties. One was the name and the price. So name was dairy milk and price was 100. So when I declare something like this, the name becomes the key, and the value associated with it, named very appropriately, is called dairy milk. So the name is the key and dairy milk is the value for that key. Again, 100 is the value for price. So price is the key, and 100 is the value for that price. So this is how our items are structured inside of a database. We will go into the intricacies of how MongoDB databases are further constructed, and we'll do so shortly. We'll also just quickly set up a MongoDB database, which we'll use from tomorrow. Which we'll use from tomorrow in creating our applications. So I guess we are done for the theory part. I think we are not going to anyway delve into theory a lot if you don't like it. So thankfully for you, it's over. So let me stop sharing this particular screen. And let's go and log into our MongoDB database. So to do that, I'll just share again. Okay, just a moment. Okay, I think I will have to share my entire screen for this very purpose. Okay, so I'll just share my screen, just and let's move to this tab. I hope you can see this right now. Okay, so let me continue. Here we have this. You will basically go to how I arrived on this is just go search for MongoDB. Click this link for mongodb.com and go here on sign in. It's taking some time, but just visit their website, and when it loads, yeah, you'll see this sign in button. Okay, this sign in button, just click on that. You will see this page of logging in, and there you will have this option of logging in using your Google account. So I just used that and used my Google account to log in. You just select your Google account, and this is where we arrive. So I'll just click on accept. And in MongoDB now, we are going to use something called their Atlas database. Now, to be very frank, just you whatever service you use, whatever cloud service, whatever you use, there are hundreds of different naming conventions. Like basically, these are database products for a company. So these are very different in how they can be named and what are their purposes. So don't be stuck in this jargon or something like that. Don't worry, it's not a lot to actually understand. It's just something that they name. So we are automatically directed to the Atlas database, which is their very basic database, and this is what we are going to be creating. So just follow me for this moment, and we'll set up our database for the coming days. So I think okay, we'll have to fill up some information. Uh, I don't know. This is some not necessary actually. Uh, we'll just fill this information here. Um, cannot sure me. And let's just click finish. This is just some basic feedback, or sorry, some yes, feedback or something like that from MongoDB. So let's leave it right now. Okay. So this is the main thing which we will be using now. When we are prompted with this, so on deploying our databases, they have their scales of databases and these uh, amounts of money associated with them. We'll just click the free version, which suffices for most of our needs. We have to click one database, this cloud provider, basically company where which company will have our database hosted on their server. This is we will be using a cloud hosted database. So you can use any one of them. I just prefer Google Cloud because I host applications there sometimes. If you use AWS or Azure, might as well just go with them. Not a problem. In region, we can leave it at Singapore. Let's just click Mumbai, India for now. Um, for the naming of the cluster, you can change it to anything. I'll just leave it at cluster 0. And let's all of our information is set, and let's just click create. Okay. Maybe let's just click on advanced configuration first and see what do we have. We'll click on shared on Google Cloud again. We have already selected Mumbai, and we'll just come here, not touch anything else. Click create cluster. I have to solve this, I guess. Anyway, so once that is done, we should be redirected to the security quick start this way. Once we have this, you will be prompted to put your username here and some password. So I'll just do this, and please don't steal away my password. Use your own databases in this. Probably by the time this goes out, these IDs would be gone. So we'll just hit create user, basically with this username and this authentication type and our password, with our password basically, and our password was Express. So please do remember your password. Where would you like to connect from? It says it gives you two places to do so. There is an option of my local environment and cloud environment, which basically is not very important right now. You can just go ahead with the default, that is local environment. Cloud environment gives you some more advanced options which we don't want to right now. Now this IP access list is something which we can tweak again. Here we can do something. So what this does is, our IP address is your unique network identifier, right? So every connection that you make with the internet, if you're already not aware, is associated with an IP address of that certain device or that connection or that network which is connecting with the which is connecting with the internet. So that particular information needs to be known by MongoDB because of security reasons. This is a security feature basically. So it allows only, so you can allow only very specific networks to connect with your database. And this is important because you don't want, in an ideal case, you don't want unauthorized networks accessing your database. For this very purpose right now, I'll not go into the details of which IP address needs to be entered. It really just matters on where you are hosting your applications, but we'll not go into that. For now, we will allow any IP address in the world to access our information, which is done with the sort of string of 0.0.0.0/0, which means any IP. So this currently gives me my IP address. I'll just add this entry, which means I am allowing all IPs around the world to access my particular database. That is all. I'll just click finish and close, and we'll go to we'll click go to overview, and this is all that is required for now for setting up our databases. One or two extra things which you can do is download something called MongoDB Compass, which is a desktop application which will allow us to access our database. So doing that might be of some use, but for this very purpose, we will also just go through our database, and you can also do it through their website. So that's all that is required for now. We'll leave it here. We have had enough conversation, and we have had enough the information as of today, and we started off. So let me just come back here and click stop sharing. So we discussed about our a client server architecture today. We basically went through our whole what is a web server, how a client requests a server. We went through various examples like asking for a change from a shopkeeper, or asking for a particular item in a kirana store. We looked at example of big basket asking for a particular chocolates from that website, and the website gives us to them. We also went through this idea of how a server thinks, how it goes and checks in the database that is available to them, to the server, finding a particular item according to what was requested and returning that item away. We also looked into something called CRUD, create, reader, update, delete of data, which becomes very vital information for um, any web application for that purpose. We also looked at, we will also be creating a product listing website, that is, and we looked at how a MongoDB database is structured. Now, we will move on to a Q&A and the Q&A session for today. And if not, let's I'll stop the recording now, and we can look at other. I'll also give you a list of other resources to look at, and we can do that. And tomorrow we'll be continuing with our exploration of Express.js, and we'll dive into some basic applications on how we start our server and all of those things. If not, if there are some other pieces of information, then we'll definitely do that. So thank you for attending today. We'll continue our Express.js server tomorrow, and thank you, that's all. I'll close the recording for today, and tomorrow, as I said, we'll continue with our Express.js server. We'll actually get into coding from tomorrow. So thank you for attending, and let's meet tomorrow. Bye.